today I want to take the next step with you, or in this next section, I want to take a step with you to help you continue to create the habit with God, all right? We said number 1 was plan a time. Number 2 is a place. Number 3, we want to talk about right now is your agenda. What is your agenda? So for me, this is about what is the method, or what is the pattern that I'm going to have when I meet with God. You know, years ago, a friend taught me what I call the ACTS method of prayer. So if you take the word ACTS, adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. Those are 4 different kinds of prayer. Well, I used to use that in my quiet time. I would spend time reading my Bible, and then I would follow through with the ACTS method of prayer. Right now, what I use in my quiet time is this model, and this is what I want to encourage you to use. You can use the ACTS method, you can choose another method, but this is what I found for me, okay, that really helps me consistently grow every day. The first thing I do is I pray. And I pray the prayer that Corrie ten Boom taught me in reading one of her books. She kept this prayer over her bed every day, and she would pray it every day, and this is her prayer. It was this: God, help me to see the world around me as you do and respond accordingly. So what Corey was saying is this: every day approach your life from this perspective. God, I want to live my life from your perspective, and I want to live that life as you would have me do it, in a way that's helpful for me and for others, okay? So you do that. So first we're going to pray the Corey prayer. Number 2, we're going to open up our Bibles and we're going to read it. So every day I have this little sheet. If you'd like to get this sheet, you can go to doylejackson.com, go to the resources, it's free. You can print it out, and this will help you read all the way through the Bible in 1 year. You can choose another method. You can choose a book you want to read. I like to read through the Bible every year because it gives me the whole counsel of God, okay? Now, that becomes really important. So first, I pray the Corey prayer. Secondly, I read my Bible passage for the day, and I'm doing that. Then I journal. I get out my notebook, and I write down what I've learned from that. I write a lot in my Bible while I'm reading it. If you were to look at my Bible, you'd be amazed at all the notes that I make when I'm reading through it. And then finally, after I've journaled, I pray the application. So today, I was reading about the Temple of Jerusalem and how Solomon was building it. And I'm thinking, wow, my body is a temple for God. And so I said, Lord, help me to walk with you all day long. I thank you that your Holy Spirit is in me, because I received the Holy Spirit when I'm saved. And then I want your Holy Spirit to empower me to be a witness. That's about Pentecost, right? There's a second empowerment that God's Holy Spirit can bring in your life if you're willing to have that. And so I'm going out and I'm saying, God, thank you for your word today. It's encouraged me to go into this day. So the first thing is you have to have a time. Second is a place. And third, you have to have an agenda. Now, Jennifer's going to share kind of her method, her agenda when she sits with God.
Agenda. What is going to be your agenda? I think I want to read you Psalm 119, 105. It says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When I think about the agenda, for me, it has everything to do with your personality. God gives us each unique gifts and talents and temperaments and personality. And so I think that's really important when you consider your agenda and what's going to work for you. Because really, we're trying to help you over the long haul. We want to help you establish a quiet time pattern that's not just going to last a month or a spurt of a year. No, we are hoping that you will choose a quiet time pattern that will last you a lifetime. So when you consider that, you have to think about your personality. You know, my husband, Pastor Doyle, he is way more detailed and in his quiet time agenda. But for me and my personality, it's all relational. It's just all relational. I have tried the checkbox. I have tried that, but It just doesn't work for me. But what does work for me is lots of prayer in my quiet time. I just love the relationship piece. Now, I have a Thompson Chain Reference Bible, and I do have a system, if you want to call it a system. It just doesn't feel like a system to me. For me, I don't want to wake up and have anything I have to do during my quiet time. I want to let the Lord lead me. I let Him initiate the conversation, initiate the Bible reading. I want Him to be involved in what I'm doing for the day. But as a general rule, I love to start with a proverb, and then so you get a little bit of wisdom going in your day. Then I'll go to a psalm. The Psalms bring me comfort. The Psalms express my heart to Him. I love to start with a psalm because I can start my quiet time just praising Him, worshiping Him, welcoming Him into that agenda, into that time. And then I generally will read something from the Old Testament and something from the New Testament. I like to imagine that I'm in the story with them. That really helps me to understand it, to make it real for me personally. So I imagine that I'm actually in the story. You know, it has to matter to you. It has to feel good to you for this to really work. Another thing that I do is worship. I might sing a song, I might play a song, I might listen to a song. Worship and music for me are a huge connection to God. So worship almost every day is somehow included in my agenda. That's almost icing on the cake. For me, worship is the fun part of a relationship with God. Another little thing that I do that you might consider doing, it's called the examine. I love to examine my heart before the Lord, and I kind of review the past day, or you could even review the past week, and I say, okay, Lord, this is where my attitude really slipped. This is, something that happened that I wish I didn't say or do. And I just call it the examine, and I confess that to the Lord, and I welcome Him to cleanse me, to speak to me. And that's just a time every day. It doesn't have to take a long amount of time, but I love to do the examine. And then I write in my Bible. Just get a Bible that you can write in. In the back, I have key scriptures. I have scriptures on certain topics like missions. So when I go to Africa, I love to have mission scriptures just right there. You might have just different scriptures for people you're praying for or something like that. And then when I finish reading a book of the Bible, I actually write the date and the month of when I read that. And so I might be reading through my Bible and I get to Jeremiah and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't read Jeremiah for 2 years. I think I need to read Jeremiah. That would be really great. And then I'll sign and date it. So for me, it's freer, it's fresh. I have to have something different and new. I love change. It's all relational for me. Once it gets to have to, it just doesn't work for me. Now, in other areas of my life, I love a checklist. I just love a grocery list. I love a finance list. But when it comes to my quiet time, it's all relational. I hope that helps you. Have a great quiet time today.
See, can't you see that we all can have a little bit different agenda, but this is what happens. When you and I have the time and the place, and then we have the agenda, you're getting all lined up like that airplane. What happens to that airplane? You get to the airport, they get out on the runway, they get all lined up, and then they check in with the tower, don't they? And they say, you are cleared to go. And this is what happens for me. When I I have that routine of that time and that place, and I'm following through my agenda, what happens is this: it just helps me take off with God every day. And that's why we're doing this. I'm so glad you're doing this study with me. I hope you're encouraged. Let's keep going so that we can create the habit of spending time with God every day.